Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. So today I'm filming my Halfoweenathon TBR. If you don't know, this is a readathon that is about reading kind of horror books, and it's to celebrate the halfway point between last Halloween and next Halloween. I only heard about this readathon maybe last week. I heard about it from Hey Little Thrifter, Alex from Hey Little Thrifter, and I'll link her video down below. She's one of the co-hosts, I believe. But as soon as I heard about this readathon, I knew I was taking part, because we all know I love reading horror and I will pretty much take any excuse to read it. Even though this is kind of poorly timed because I had loads of books I wanted to finish before the end of April, and I am filming it today, so it's the 29th as I speak, and it starts today. So now I've just got to cram in all these books as well as other books that I was hoping to finish before May starts and I start on my May TBR. But we're making it work, Yeah, so there are 6 challenges in total. 7 challenges, but there's 6 book related challenges, so I'll list them down below and I'm just going to go through them now and talk about what I'm reading. So the first prompt is to read a book that has been adapted into a movie and then to watch the movie. For this one, I have decided to read The Survivor by James Herbert. So I recently read my first ever James Herbert book. I read Fluke, which you'll hear about in my wrap-up. I actually really enjoyed it. I really liked his writing style. My mum's been a massive fan of James Herbert for years now, and I distinctly remember her talking about this book because she said this is one of the only books that has ever scared her, and it scared her so much that she had to leave the house because she was living alone at the time and she just couldn't be in the house alone. So it comes with a pretty high expectations based off that recommendation, but it's pretty short. It's about what I believe it's about is a guy is in a plane crash and he's the only person who survives this plane crash, and then he starts kind of feeling guilty about surviving and he starts seeing the ghosts of the other passengers and weird stuff happens around that. That's all I know about it. The movie came out in 1981 and it didn't come up on the book's Wikipedia page, but it did come up when I searched for it separately, so that's an interesting sign. Yeah, pretty excited to read this. It's also fulfilling the third prompt, which is to read a book by a master of horror. I would normally pick Stephen King for this, but Stephen King's books are so long there's no way I can read any of them that I haven't already read in this amount of time. So I've gone for James Herbert. He's pretty big in Britain. I don't know how famous he is in America, but he was really well known here, and he's definitely one of the masters of horror. The next prompt was to read a book by an indie author. I'm not entirely sure. I know what indie author means in theory, but I've picked an author on Amazon who is self-publishing, and I'm hoping that counts. I think it does. But anyway, I have picked Dreamwoods by Patrick Lacey. It's quite sunny today, so I don't know how well you can see that cover because it's very dark, but it's like a theme park. It's got a bear. This is actually already on my May TBR. Mild spoilers for that video because it hasn't gone up yet. It should be my next video, which is mainly why I picked this one, because I've got a lot of Kindle self-published horror on my TBR to read, but this is the most convenient one. So I'll be reading this near the end of the readathon once it's hit May. This is about a theme park called Dreamwoods, and basically it closed down years ago because of some shady dealings. There's various rumours about why it closed down. Some people say there was a cult, some people say people were tortured there. There's all these stories, and this guy is I think he's just driving home or he's walking home and he sees the sign for Dreamwoods saying it's reopening. He remembers it from his childhood and his family's kind of going through a rough patch, so his wife's debating about leaving him, his kids aren't particularly happy, so he decides that they'll all go to this theme park and it will kind of solve all their problems. But creepy things are still happening at this theme park. I love books written about theme parks. I read Fantasticland last year, which I think it's by Mike something. I'll write it down below in my books mentioned section, but that was fantastic. That was really good, and I just want to read more horror books set in theme parks really, so cannot wait for this one. This is also fulfilling the challenge of read a book that was published within the last 5 years. It was published in 2016, I believe. The final 2 challenges are to read a book set in the autumn and to read a book that's not a traditional format, so short story collection, poetry collection, something like that. I've got a pick that kind of fulfills both of those, but I might play around with this section depending on how I'm feeling. But the one I've picked for now is the Haunted Forest Tour. It's got two authors, James A. Moore and Jeff Strand, and this is definitely set in the autumn. The blurb is very unique. It's written in a kind of second person style, and the idea is that you're going on this tour through this forest and weird things are going to happen, and it's Halloween. I picked it because it's one of the books on my Kindle Unlimited subscription. I kind of want to get through those so I can end that subscription as much as I love it, because it's costing me money I don't have right now. And it is kind of a non-traditional format because I believe it is told entirely in the second person, and the idea is that you are going on this tour, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So I might swap it out for, I've got a couple of short story collections, and I think I can probably easily find one that is themed around Halloween that I would like to read. So I might swap it out for something like that. But at the moment I think I'll read this book. And I might also just pick up one of my point horror books set at Halloween if I can't find a short story collection that fits, because they're super short and I can blaze through those. But yeah, so that is all the books I'm planning on reading for Halfoween. Let me know if you're taking part. I've seen a couple of people I've subscribed to are taking part, so I'm excited about that. I'm hoping to be a bit more active on Twitter than I have been about other readathons in the past. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, it helps me out massively, and I hope to see you next time.